Hello and welcome to our Flip video lesson 1.06, A Golden Time. Learning objectives of this lesson: identify Pericles, recognize key characteristics of Athenian democracy, and analyze a primary source to assess Athenian values. We're going to be talking about Athens' golden age. It will involve your student guide questions, student guide pages 278 to 281. We're going to learn about some important vocabulary, and you'll have your Human Odyssey reading pages 310 to 317. As always, it's super important that you are reading those Human Odyssey pages to make sure you're covering all of the objectives that we need to get in for this lesson. Ties everything together. 1.06, A Golden Time, Introduction. After the wars, Persia was still a mighty empire, but it was no longer a threat to Greece. Athens, however, was in ruins. Pericles, a man of great vision and energy, thought Athens could be better than ever. He pictured a city of great buildings and great artwork. He saw an educated population with more political power than the world had ever seen. He envisioned in Athens that all the Greek city-states, all the world would emulate. Under his leadership, Athens entered a golden age. And that word emulate means kind of all the world would be jealous of, all the world wanted. That's what that word emulate means. So we're going to go ahead and watch a little video here, Pericles in Athens, Golden Age Democracy. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick flip to another video.
Many of the people treated at the sanctuary of Asclepius traveled there from the magnificent city-state of Athens, which lay about 150 miles to the northeast of Epidavros. Athens was named for the goddess of wisdom, Athena, and her fantastic temple, called the Parthenon, which is seen here, looms above the city from where it stands in the ancient Acropolis. Inside the Parthenon, there once was an enormous gold and ivory statue of Athena, made by the same sculptor who fashioned the statue of Zeus at Olympia. And during religious festivals, this statue was draped in a special garment woven by the women of the city. Next to the Parthenon, this temple, called the Erechtheion, with its famous porch supported by statues of Greek maidens, was built on the spot where the royal palace of the kings of ancient Athens once stood. The last king of Athens to live on this site was named Codrus. After Codrus died in 1066 BC, fighting to save the city from the invading Dorians, the Athenians decided that no one person could ever take the place of such a great king, and so the monarchy was replaced by an oligarchy, ruled by a small group of men from noble families. Then in 594 BC, a great statesman named Solon founded a parliament, a people's law court, and a council of the people, changing the way the oligarchy governed Athens so that power was more equally shared by all her citizens. However, it was this man, Pericles, who was responsible for developing, for the first time in history, a government by the people, starting in the year 461 BC, following Athens' great victory over the invading armies of Persia. Under democracy and the guidance of Pericles, Athens flourished, and with the help of some of the greatest artists and scholars in human history, the city grew both in wealth and in beauty. And so Athens entered her brief but magnificent Golden Age. Most of the spiritual life of Athens centered on the temples located high above the city in the Acropolis. And the sight of these temples always served to remind the citizens of the great goodness and wisdom of Athena, their protector. Located far below the Acropolis was the marketplace, whose ruins are seen here, that was once ringed with government buildings, a library, and a gymnasium. And on a low hill overlooking the marketplace, they built this fine temple to the god of fire and metalworking, Hephaestus. For very near this temple, there were in ancient times a large number of workshops where gifted craftsmen labored who sought the guidance and protection of this god. And looking across the marketplace from the temple of the god of fire is the great stoa of Attalus, where citizens congregated to discuss such things as politics, prices, their families, and the weather. As city-states went, Athens was quite large, and it encompassed much of the lower end of the Attica Peninsula. And here, at the extreme southern end of the city-state, and overlooking an important sea route, this marvelous temple was constructed at just about the same time the Parthenon was being built, around 444 BC. This temple honored one of the three greatest of the Olympian gods, Poseidon, the god of the sea, and it is his statue we see here. Sailors returning to Athens after a long voyage to the east could see this temple from far out on the water, and seeing it always meant that they would be home soon, and for this they always gave thanks to Poseidon. As we have learned, Athens during its golden age was quite a fantastic place, and yet there were certain flaws in the Athenian democracy. The same flaws that were to be found the next time people tried to institute this form of government, 2,200 years later, during the early years of the United States. Namely, only men were allowed to vote, and women had no legal voice in decision-making at all. And the slaves, who were bought and sold like animals, had no rights whatsoever, even though they made up a large part of the population. The Golden Age ended mostly because of an outbreak of war in 431 BC between Athens and her powerful enemy Sparta, a highly militaristic city-state a few hundred miles to the south. A war that ended 27 years later with the defeat of Athens. And although Athenian civilization was not completely destroyed by this war, it never fully regained the glory that it possessed during its golden age.
Go ahead and open your student guide, page 280. Question number 1, characteristics of Athens after the Persian Wars. So immediately following the Persian Wars, Athens was in ruins, as you can imagine, after a war. The Persian army had burned homes and temples almost to the ground. And then after rebuilding the city, the Athenians rebuilt the city to a much grander level than before its destruction, incorporating temples, artistic works, and theaters, which made Athens the cultural center of the region. And then question number 2, this time period is called both the Golden Age of Athens and the Age of Pericles. Okay, and then this is on page 280 also. This is that chart. What role did the following play in the Athenian system of government? So categories are the assembly, the council of Athens, polis jobs, the generals, and the juries. I'm sorry, it looks like that's cut off a little bit there. Let me see if I can make that a little bigger at the bottom. There we go. All right, so the assembly, cut off the top too. There we go. The assembly, so the purpose was members met to debate issues and make decisions. Who participated? All citizens were expected to attend and participate. And then how were they chosen? So they were to be heard during a meeting of the assembly. One needed to be a good speaker who could hold the attention of the group. And then the Council of Athens, the purpose was it made the decisions of the day-to-day business of Athens, decided what things would be discussed at assembly meetings, and wrote new laws on which the assembly would vote. Who participated? 500 citizens at a time participated. And then how were they chosen? 500 members were chosen from among all the citizens by lottery every year. And then polis jobs. Polis jobs, the purpose was they supported the government's business, guards, market inspectors, inventory, import-export officials. Who participated? The citizens. And then how were they chosen? Individual citizens were chosen by lottery each year to fill the job. So you see kind of a theme starting there. The citizens were the ones who participated. This was really big because this new democracy was something that, wasn't common, didn't happen in previous civilizations. The generals, they were chief officials. commanded the army and navy, and planned strategy, defended the city-state, led troops in battle, enforced the decisions of the assembly and the council, met with ambassadors, oversaw activities like tax collection, and then who participated for the generals? 10 citizens who were seen as worthy of the responsibility participated each year. And then how were they chosen? The assembly elected individuals yearly. And then we've got the juries. The juries decided guilt or innocence in trials and decided punishments. Who participated? The citizens. And then how were they chosen? Individuals were chosen by lottery for each trial. So, this is the start of democracy, and you can see a lot of similarities to how we run our United States government today. Your reading guide, page 281. Question number 2. Who was allowed to participate in Athenian democracy? All citizens of Athens, males 18 years or older, and born of Athenian parents. Even the poor, after Pericles, began a system of paying salaries to the government works. Question number 3, what groups could not participate in the political process? Women, immigrants, slaves, because they could not become citizens. So again, it wasn't a perfect system, but it definitely was the start of something to definitely respect and copy. Question number 4, do you think the groups that couldn't vote or officially participate influenced politics in Athens? So this was that other group. So your answer will vary, but they may have discussed their opinions with the citizens, who then took these concerns to the Council of Athens or the Assembly. So whether they were truly heard or not, that is probably unknown. But did they influence? They probably did a little bit. And then question number 5, who was eligible to vote in ancient Athens? All the citizens, not all the people, all the citizens. So those who were considered a citizen, they were able to vote. So vocabulary is key to understanding comprehension. A few vocabulary words. Primary source is an original document, item, or person who has firsthand knowledge about something. Secondary source is an article or book that discusses information that was first presented somewhere else. Pericles is an Athenian statesman whose leadership contributed to Athens' political and cultural supremacy in Greece. He ordered the construction of the Parthenon. He died in 429 BC. And then the Parthenon, sorry, I'm not sure why this isn't showing all of it here. Looks a little small. Oops. Sorry, that's cut off there. The main temple of the goddess Athena, built on the Acropolis in Athens more than 400 years BC. Example is Doric architecture. And we'll talk more about architecture when we talk about the culture. I do apologize for that being cut off. All right, reading is key to understanding. As always, make sure you are completing your reading pages 310 to 317. We did not discuss the primary source in this lesson, in this flip video lesson. So it's important that you do your reading and make sure, just to kind of tie everything together. And here we come to our quote process, or our quote, this page. Civilization is just a slow process of learning to be kind. And here we come to the end of our flip video. Thank you so much for joining me. The secret to your future is hidden in your daily routine. Have a great day.